The Content King and His Kingdom. Once, in a prosperous kingdom, there lived a wise and just king named Vishwanath. He was known for his fairness, his wisdom in governing, and his love for his people. However, despite his many accomplishments, there was one thing that always bothered him: he was troubled by his personal life. His son, Raghav, often rebelled against his teachings. His wife, Soma, did not always follow his counsel, and despite his wealth, he often felt a sense of unrest in his heart. One day, feeling disheartened, King Vishwanath went to the kingdom's most revered sage, Acharya Raghunandan, seeking advice on how to find peace and happiness in his life. The sage welcomed him and listened patiently as the king shared his concerns. After a long pause, Acharya Raghunandan smiled gently and said, "O king, you have all the wealth, power, and material possessions a ruler could desire, but true happiness comes from peace within your home. If your son is obedient, if your wife is harmonious with your wishes, and if you are content with your riches, then you will have your heaven here on earth." Confused, King Vishwanath asked, "But I have wealth, I have power, why do I still feel this emptiness?" The sage nodded, "You seek external riches, but the most valuable treasures lie within the walls of your own home. Your son's obedience, your wife's cooperation, and your contentment with what you have are the keys to true happiness." Intrigued, King Vishwanath decided to put the sage's advice into practice. He returned to his palace with a new resolve to focus on the harmony within his family. The first step, with his son. King Vishwanath sat down with his son, Raghav, in a quiet corner of the palace. "My son, I have always tried to teach you, but I have not understood you well," said the king. "Tell me, what do you desire most in life?" Raghav, a young man full of energy and ambition, hesitated at first, then said, "I want to learn from my own experiences, father, and not just follow rules set by others." The king listened carefully and said, "I understand, Raghav. But remember, learning from experience doesn't mean rejecting guidance. True wisdom comes from combining knowledge with action. Let us work together, so that I can support you in learning, and you can support me in building this kingdom." From that day forward, the king took the time to understand his son's thoughts and dreams, guiding him with patience. Raghav, in turn, began to follow his father's counsel more willingly, knowing that his father trusted him and respected his independence. The second step, with his wife. Next, King Vishwanath turned his attention to his wife, Soma. Though she was wise and capable, the king realized that they had often disagreed on decisions regarding the kingdom and personal matters. He invited her to a private dinner and said, "Soma, we are partners in this life, and I value your wisdom and strength. Let us work together, not just in ruling the kingdom, but in supporting each other's thoughts and decisions. Your happiness is my happiness, and I believe that we can create a deeper connection." Soma, touched by the king's words, smiled and agreed. She had always respected her husband but had often felt like her opinions were dismissed. From then on, they shared their decisions and worked together in harmony, knowing that mutual respect was the foundation of a strong partnership. The third step, contentment with wealth. Finally, King Vishwanath turned inward. He realized that though his wealth was vast, he had often been focused on acquiring more, land, treasures, and power, never truly appreciating what he already had. Sitting quietly in his study, he gazed out at the flourishing kingdom, the prosperous trade routes, and the peaceful lives of his people. "I have enough," he whispered to himself. "I am blessed with everything I need." From that moment, the king learned to live with gratitude for the wealth he had, using it to support his people and create a harmonious society. He stopped seeking more and instead found joy in the abundance he had already created. The transformation. As the months passed, King Vishwanath's kingdom flourished even more. His son, Raghav, became a wise and disciplined leader, following in his father's footsteps. His wife, Soma, stood by him as an equal, supporting him with love and wisdom. And the king, content with his wealth, enjoyed peace and harmony in his home. One day, the sage Acharya Raghunandan visited the palace again. The king greeted him warmly and said, "Acharya, I have found heaven right here on earth. My son obeys me, my wife supports me, and I am content with my wealth." The sage smiled and nodded. "You have learned well, O king. True happiness is not found in distant places, but in the peace and harmony within your own home. You have now discovered that the treasures of family and contentment are the most valuable riches of all." Moral of the story. This story reflects the wisdom of the Chanakya Niti, teaching that true happiness is found when there is peace within one's family and contentment with what one has. A son who respects his father, a wife who supports her husband, and a person who is content with their material wealth, this is the foundation of a truly fulfilled life. When these elements are in harmony, heaven can indeed exist here on earth. The king's journey teaches us that happiness doesn't come from external pursuits alone, but from cultivating strong, respectful relationships and appreciating the blessings we already possess. Thanks for watching. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to give it a like, share it with others who might benefit, and subscribe to the channel for more valuable content like this. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.